Was this first round draft pick by Kevin Colbert in 2021 a waste? Or do the Pittsburgh Steelers have something up their sleeve to have a split carry type of running back by committee type of offense? Or is it simply just one guy making the other completely irrelevant? What is going on, everybody? Good Monday morning to you. I am Mac, and I am back with another video as always. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the box below. As always, this is my overreaction for the Steelers for Monday, as punctuating off of Thursday's dominant performance over the Falcons. Steelers wrap up the preseason 3-0 as we get ready to play the 49ers on September 10th for not only the home opener, but the season opener as well. But in this video, I'm going to talk about Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren and who I personally think should have that RB1 spot with them right now. It was more apparent in the Buffalo Bills game a couple weeks ago, where there was a story being told on the field. Jaylen Warren busted out a 62-yard touchdown run in preseason against the Buffalo Bills. That run right there is 25 yards longer than the longest carry of Najee Harris's career, which was a 37-yard touchdown run against the Cleveland Browns at the end of 2021 to wrap up Big Ben's final home game. And now I know that Najee has topped the 1,000-yard rush mark in each of his first two seasons, especially behind this offensive line. But with that said, I think that we've gotten to a point pretty much where that's kind of overstated and it kind of lacks context, especially when we take a look at Najee Harris's production with the carries. So we take a look. He's averaged less than 4 yards a carry for his career and a 3.8 yards per attempt, which was tied for 21st in the NFL last season. But Jaylen Warren was actually tied for 10th in the league last season with 4.9 per attempt. And if he's been able to maintain those yards per attempt and he had the number of carries that Najee Harris had, Jaylen Warren would have went over 1,300 yards for last season, while Najee finished barely over 1,000. Still, that's a dub considering the O-line that he has. But it just has to make you wonder who is more productive for this offense. Now, Najee does add dimension to the receiving game for the Steelers, but even then, Jaylen Warren does that much better. He has more yards per reception than Najee has, as well as a higher catch percentage and more yards per target. And he also has had more yards after a catch than Najee has, despite having 13 fewer catches. So, even at his own game, Jaylen Warren is just outplaying Najee Harris. Overall, you look at it in a mixed bag, Najee had the better season and the numbers. But if we're going pound for pound, Warren was, and still is, the more explosive back. And I think it was pretty evident, like I said, in that Buffalo game, and especially in the Falcon game, where he averaged 5.5 on the ground on 10 carries. So you be the judge of that. Now, I'm not giving up on Najee Harris. I still like the guy. I still think that he's a hard worker. I still think that he is a really good, capable running back. But the thing is, his running style, it just doesn't translate into today's league. You know, we know the kind of runner that Najee is. He's downhill, he's looking for holes every single time, and more often than not, he's missing it because he dances around too much. Now, I tried to give Najee the benefit of the doubt by saying that, yeah, he has a weak O-line, but, we fixed up the offensive line in the offseason, first of all, and just how many more times are we going to be able to use that excuse? You can't use it with Najee Harris. You can't use it with Jaylen Warren. Because Jaylen Warren is being productive, and Jaylen Warren is getting the yards, and he's being more explosive. Can Najee Harris still grow and break through this season? I absolutely think he can, but it shouldn't be forced. And if the pattern of Jaylen Warren being more productive with his touches continues, then the Steelers really just need to bite the bullet, and we need to make this a split backfield rather than forcing the issue than to try and justify the selection of Najee Harris in the first round. The thing is, if your first round pick isn't being productive, then don't you think that you have to do what's best for the team? Because we all know, anyone with two eyes can see that Jaylen Warren is being productive. I mean, by no means is this supposed to be bashing Najee Harris, because like I said, I like the guy. I think he's a hard worker, and I understand it'll come off that way, so I really need to stress right here that it's not my intent to bash him in this video. But he needs to start the season off fast and productive, or all these narratives and everything that I've been saying about Jaylen Warren in this video, with the touches, the receptions, the yards after carry, the yak, you name it, they're going to become shouts. And they're going to become everyday takes. He's still a young guy. He's 25 years old. But when you're a running back, especially in today's league, your window of opportunity is very small. You don't see running backs get better with age, okay? Running backs, they usually hit their peak around 24 to 27 years old. And let's face it, Najee just doesn't have that much of a window of opportunity right now. And the same can be said for Jaylen Warren, but the difference is Jaylen Warren has been working with this offensive line, and he's been putting in the production. Where Najee, it's just a nice way of saying right here, he hasn't done anything yet. And this is his third season. Like I said, the clock is ticking. And if you were to ask me right now about Najee Harris, would you give him a fifth season when 2025 rolls around? Honestly, at this rate, I'd say no. Because we have our running back unintentionally with Jaylen Warren. And who's to say that another good running back prospect around that time in 2025 rolls around, he falls in our laps? Or if we hang on to Anthony McFarland, because I think Anthony McFarland plays a good role in this as well. Anthony McFarland has come out of nowhere. Well, maybe not nowhere, but he's finally being used right. And we're seeing the production with him as well. Where with Najee, it's just pretty much the same thing over and over again. So, that's my overreaction. I think Jaylen Warren is going to make everybody miss or everybody forget about Najee Harris sooner rather than later, because he's more explosive, he's more productive, and he actually does what Najee Harris has been doing better than the man himself. And even Anthony McFarland, I think, along down the line, can come through and beat Najee at his own game as well. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who knows? This could be a good running back by committee type of, offense that we have. Who's to say that we just don't use Najee for short yardage plays, almost like a fullback? But, that's not what we drafted the guy for. We drafted the guy for his potential and for his explosive run style, but it just hasn't looked that way. it's looked that way with Jaylen Warren. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. This is Mac checking on out for the night. Have a good one, everybody.